Hello! Welcome to A9AYTZ358G, the best among the best. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through designing and implementing e-procurement. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at A9AYTZ358G. The link is in the description. Chapter 1, Background Study Overview. The project is designing and implementing e-procurement on business-to-business transactions. It first identifies current procurement process and explores how to implement procurement that involves mainstay drivers and problems of e-procurement system usage and investigate the effect on the performance of the ministry in terms of e-government and transparency in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. The solution essentially involves in creating all the requirement details/specs of a tender to be floated electronically, in parameterized form, so that subsequent evaluation and comparative chart preparation exercises could be automated to a large extent. The term procurement can be referred to as the buying of tangible and intangible merchandise for organizations which can be executed through agency or company. Procurement is not an event. It is a process and signifies a continuing relationship between the government and its suppliers. Procurements are always taken as an important task in the government environment and always handled in a strictly secured and controlled manner. A9AYTZ358G, 1994. According to A9AYTZ358G, et al. 2007, procurement is also one of the sectors that remains insulated against any process improvements. At the moment, it has been recognized world over that information and communication technology, ICT, can eliminate the existing bureaucratic problems and make the government's performance more resourceful, easily reached and clear as crystal, besides being cost-effective. The procurement process in the Ministry of Science and Technology, www.fmst.gov.ng, is a complex process that starts and ends in a cycle. Procurement cycle starts from raising of the requirements for an item or a service and ends only after settlement of supplier payments as shown in the diagram below. The concept of e-procurement. Electronic procurement can describe as purchasing order that release a communication over the internet through authorized internet seller catalog. E-procurement is the electronic purchase of goods and services for an organization. Turpin et al. 2006. From an easy phrase, electronic purchase can be described as procedure to purchase tangible and intangible merchandise by the use of internet for a company or institution. For example, within Nigeria, the majority of companies in the petroleum industries, United Parcel Service, PLC, UPS, Federal Express PLC, FedEx, Communication Industries etc. are some of the few organizations that practice e-procurement in material purchase. A9AYTZ358G et al. 2009. The reason is so, because the industries have advanced and developed their technology usage of e-procurement, keeping up with the changes in the business environment as it pertains to information and technology. Furthermore, electronic procurement or merchant trade is the business-to-consumer, B2C, or company-to-company, C2C, acquisition as well as trade of tangible and intangible goods by electronic means in various information and network systems, like the Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, and Electronic Data Interchange, EDI, A9AYTZ358G et al. 2009. Electronic procurement systems permit competent and valid user to search for buyer or seller of tangible as well as intangible merchandise. No matter which method, buyer or seller may as well state the outlay and request for bidding. Dealings can then be welcomed. Other concepts in e-procurement: reverse auction. The traditional auction is a forward auction. It is a process through which a seller offers an item for auction, and prospective buyer competes with one another for acquisition. By doing this, the price continues to move up upon the time nobody will be able to go up further. In the reverse auction, several dealers of a product vie for the trade of one single purchaser. In such a way the price moves downward. There are 3 to 4 flavors of reverse auction, called as English auction, Dutch auction, sealed bid auction etc. How it works: there is no contact or conciliation with the bidders during the auction. The buyer also watches the progress of bidding from his office. Identities if bidders are available to him. In reverse auction, competition is high. Bidders get tempted to bid lower and lower to clinch the deal, until they are unwilling to go any further. At the conclusion, the lowest bidder emerges as winner of the auction. Benefits to buyers: significant reduction in cost due to dynamic bidding process. Inefficiencies in the supply chain reduce. With real-time competition, suppliers are on their toes. It is an effective way of measuring and assessing price discovery and making the negotiation process an easy effort. Often used along with tendering. To vendors, ensure savings in marketing cost/distributor margins, facilitates flexibility in pricing decision. Transparency increases, allows vendors to assess their pricing power from close quarters of competition. E-payment: commonly available modes for effecting EMD/fee/other payments electronically, from within a software application, are online payment through credit cards/debit cards or direct account debit, using gateway for internet banking. Depending on the actual need and usage constraints, the appropriate mode could be chosen and integrated into the SW application. Credit cards could conveniently be integrated for use if the payment amounts involved are not substantial. For all other cases where payment amounts could be heavy, payments through direct debits from concerned accounts, using internet banking is the only alternative. Scope of e-procurement solution to the ministry: purchasing of all kinds of goods and services, works, etc. Types of tenders: open, limited, expression of interest, hybrid mode of operation, electronic and paper-based bid submission, initial stages of implementation, mode of payments, tender fee, EMD, e-payment, as well as conventional payment modes, DD, etc. The importance of procurement: the purchasing of merchandise, works, and services has a main effect on the efficient execution of an assignment. To a great degree, the quality, cost, and judicious achievement of a task determined on the supervision and managing of purchase of materials needed. Use of articulated policy and practice, considered by unbiased, just, and transparent measures, is vital, not only to create reliable and steady market that will be capable to catch the fancy of competent contractor and supplier, but also to uphold the paradigm of accountability and the cost-efficient use of civic treasury. The importance of procurement in delivering key aims and mission of the ministry, and as a result the procurement of merchandise, facility and services, is of strategic significance to the ministry. It has an undeviating force on the ministry's general overheads and price of service prerequisite to public. Can have direct effect with delivery of its services by ministries. Can have direct effect on the accomplishment of business, department and service mission. It provides the system to deliver key plan objective, together with sustainability, corporate work environment, egalitarianism and cost-effective improvement. It operate in multifaceted dogmatic structure that should be followed. Benefits of e-procurement to Ministry of Science and Technology. For years, improvement to purchase has been attempted, frequently by means of information technology. The concrete opportunity for development today lies in the use of e-procurement, the electronic process of obtaining goods and services for an organization. A9AYTZ358G et al., 2009. They further to ascertain that by automation and reformation the thorough and arduous routine of obtained task, purchase professional will have the opportunity to pay more attention on other tactical purchase, in order to achieve these set of objectives, growing the efficiency of purchase agent, by giving enough period as well as decreasing the work stress, reducing the procure price by merchandise homogeny, reverse auctions, quantity price cut, and also through purchase consolidation. Getting better information stream and organization, for example supplier information and price. Reducing or elimination of the purchase through unqualified vendors, in that way eliminating non-conformist buying. Getting better the disbursement procedures and savings due to expedite disbursement, for seller, ensure just-in-time delivery always/order fulfillment and handling period through the use of computerization, reduce skill as well as instruction need of purchase agent. Reduce numeral figure of supplier reformation of purchase procedure, creating it easy, better and speedy, may involve authorize requests to carry out purchase on their desktop, bypassing purchasing unit. Reformation of account statements and difference of opinion decision, reduce organizational handing out expenditure for each bid as to a great extent of 90%, getting fresh supplier and vendor that will be able to provide goods and services quicker and more so, more cost effective due to better sourcing. Integrate budgetary measures in purchase procedure. Reduction or elimination of individual error in trade or transport procedure. Monitor as well as regulate exchange activities. The various benefits are listed below. Transactional benefits. Electronic purchase enable purchaser to process transaction through internet. For instance, an intranet-based transacts means through which things can be chosen mostly from an identified catalogs and submit for authorization. The device can be connected in same direction of the backside part of ERP structure for access, reimbursement of invoice, and arrangement of organization information. Electronic procedures, together with computerization of P-card purchase, lead to immense period saving as well as effectiveness owing to universal, computerized process. Incorporate finest tradition as well as eliminate needless actions. Electronic processing enable affiliation with supplier, which speed purchase phase period and facilitate contractor feed improvement. And better data correctness, which minimize order inaccuracy as well as provide the necessary base for enhanced supervision from side-to-side control and scrutiny. Compliance benefits. A lot of instances in a company, conformity and unconventional expenditure is an important problem, not for the reason that workers intentionally procure outside of favored arrangements, but to a certain extent through being short of knowledge. Electronic purchases address this from side-to-side apparatus such as catalogs and benchmark order procedures and authorized process. Conformity will be achieved owing to easy and speedy request-to-pay procedure together with an easy-to-use interface and pre-source catalogs modified to the needs of different client. Easy and speedy tactical source procedure with benchmark purchase process and apparatus, without difficulty accessing information. Electronic purchase structure, the only purchase method obtainable. Management information benefit. This statement to analyze the importance of data's cost center, commodity codes, etc. is hard-coded in opposition to the user significantly reduce code error and provide extremely exhaustive as well as effortlessly available data. This is very important information to make the rule of the monetary revenue of tactical source. A successful e-procurement performance will give high value, complete management information and will reverse the need for data warehousing or resource-heavy data mining. By David Eakin, 2002. The capability to display to your supplier that you are using e-procurement as an apparatus to make sure final user do respect their union significance will augment ability to bargain along the prices through better improved capture and as a result, trustworthiness of expenditure information. And better assurance that costs volume can be assured from better conformity with the structure, hence allow degree price breaks and discount to achieve. These include the capacity to improve management of business cash flow as well as control the proficient reimbursement of supplier because of the further rationalized procurement procedures giving additional suitable and precise information to the accounts payable department. Possible benefit includes limited staff. A hard benefit only if improvement can bring about headcount decrease, and brings down expenditure on postages as well as stationaries. Throughout negotiations, the procurement manager can further credibly guarantee the supplier a level of prompt payment, which was not possible prior to e-procurement. David Eakin, 2002. However, the electronic invoice benefit is frequently unexamined and uncared for. Reduction in procurement and contract cycle time. Cost reduction. Efficient and streamlined procurement processes. New supplier discovery. Close monitoring of activity/vendor performance. Rich MIS and analytics. New improved image. Standardized formats and uniform tendering practices. Increased visibility/less artificial barriers. Increased business opportunities. Greater degree of transparency. Cycle time reduction in participation and award of contract. Supplier enablement and ease of participation for high-value items. Purchasing personnel in the ministry spends most of their work period on procurement activities. These functions involve developing relationship with considered supplier, negotiating prices as well as terms, qualifying supplier, and bringing out supplier's certification as well as evaluation. When buyer is occupied in the midst of information of lesser things, especially MROs, they have less period to adequately engage in the purchase of the high-value item. Other problems can happen in traditional purchase. These include delay in paying a lot for hasten order, purchase inadequacies, non-conformist exchange, impromptu procurements of merchandise needed hurriedly, unintentionally at non-pre-negotiated soaring price. The conventional purchase procedure, as discussed over, is therefore ineffective. In order to avoid a repeat of this event, the Ministry needs to re-engineer the process of purchasing, by carrying out of new purchasing models in general, through the introduction of electronic purchase. From this stage, we shall gaze at what e-procurement means in B2B market. The issues are summarized below: lack of a general public procurement policy. Nigeria lack up-to-date regulation on public procurement and enduring supervision and supervised purchase entity. Transparency in Procurement Act, the Finance Control and Management Act, 1958, jointly with financial policy which sets basic regulations for managing public expenses, have gap, deficiency as well as defective execution of existing set of laws on procurement, for example, inadequate in the arrangement for controlling and supervision, which make opportunity for unethical behavior. Lack of model bidding documents and contract documents because of inflations, inadequate and regularly adjustment to threshold of the favorable limit of the tenders board, their approval were regularly nulled, consequential in abuse, top amongst include is split of contract. Complicated procedures for approvals, bidding and payments. There is a large number of tenders board that are alleged by the private sector as a source of delay as well as non-intelligibility. Furthermore, those tenders board appear to encompass inadequate mandate amid power to choose contracted faction active through the permanent secretary as well as minister/commissioner. Inadequate skilled resources. There is no centralized system of registration of suppliers. Delays in making payments to suppliers whose procurement are sometimes executed through staffs that substantially lack the required experience. E-government procurement is the collaborative purchase of tangible and intangible merchandise by the civic division using electronic methods at every stage, ensuring transparency and efficiency. Ideally, it covers the full life cycle of procurement. The intention is to automate, possibly, the whole purchasing processes, along with tender offer submission as well as payment from supplier. In an automated computerized concurrent situation, e-procurement could resolve many of the constraints/delays of traditional procurement. In David Eakin, 2002, summary, e-procurement is the business-to-business buying and selling of supplies and services online. The e-procurement helps both the buyers and the suppliers to decrease the cycle time, needless paperwork, waiting in long queues, and at the same time maintain the simplicity in the entire process. David Eakin, February, 2003. Which are to reduce cycle times of procurement, increase supplier access to ensure wider participation, reduce costs of procurement through competitive bidding and reverse auctioning, remove cartelization by supplier groups, reverse auctioning, enhance transparency in the procurement procedure, almost complete elimination of paperwork, for speedy and efficient functioning. Inefficient function in the ministry is because of lack of a general civic procurement policy, lack of consistency in enforcing procurement practice and procedures, low competence, labor-intensive process, call for of intelligibility in procurement leading to fraud and pilferage of the treasury, unethical practice by suppliers, cartel creation, influence selection by bribing unit personnel, advances in electronic procurement by the use of safe internet-enabled means have not been used in an extensive method approach to a procurement solution before looking for an e-procurement solution. A relook on existing procurement procedures/practices is essential, as is analysis, re-engineering for optimized processes, optimization/reduction in process flow steps, uniformity/standardization in formats/practices/procedures, organization-wide use of unified item codification structure, automation of processes, critical determinants of a procurement solution, good authentication, role-based access, security, secrecy of bids, signing, encryption, ease of use, tender templates, e-payment integration, etc. Integrated document management features, good analytics, good audit trail/traceability features, access for financial audit, legal and RTI needs, good archival and retrieval features/policy, safe and secure probing for sellers so as to get in contrast supplier and product occasionally can be in reality awfully time-consuming and expensive. Most ministries as a way out invite sellers to fulfill orders and create marketplace. Procurement is used to refer to the purchase of goods and services for an organization. Martin et al., 2001. Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, FMST, are among the important parastatals of the federal government. the major term of office is providing access to technology for the majority of Nigerian populace. The ministry is made up of eight departments. The Department of Administration and Supply within the ministry is responsible for planning, management and entirely documenting the procedure to purchase both tangible and intangible merchandise. Use of active continuing service agreement for products to attain program needs. Management, soliciting and contract award procedures is done prudently and unprejudiced method that is fair and treat every potential vendor and bidder. Ensures that contract for good, service as well as building is planned to offer the most excellent value to government. Ensures that every ministry acquisition and disposal is unswerving with guidelines, appropriate legislature as well as trade agreement. Declare products excess as soon as their utilization to the ministry has finished. The department is therefore responsible for procurement of goods and services in the ministry. The nature and scope of e-procurement according to A9AYTZ358G, 2009, different methods are employed to procure goods and services by companies depending on what and where they buy, the quantities needed, how much money is involved, and more. They further mention some important procurements method to comprise the listed below, to buy from an internal buyer's catalog in which company-approved vendors' catalogs, including agreed-upon prices, are aggregated. This approach is used for the implementation of desktop purchasing, which allows the requisitions to order directly from vendors, bypassing the procurement department. Buy directly from manufacturers, wholesalers, or retailers from their catalogs and possibly by negotiation. Frequently, a contract implements such a purchase. Buy from the catalog of an intermediary, e-distributor, that aggregates sellers' catalogs. Conduct bidding or tendering, a reverse auction, in a system in which suppliers compete against each other. This method is used for large ticket items or large quantities. To buy at private or public auction sites in which the organization participates as one of the buyers. Collaborate with suppliers to share information about sales and inventory, as to reduce inventory and stockouts and enhance just-in-time delivery, Turpin et al. 2006. Join a group purchasing system that aggregates participants' demand, creating a large volume. Then, the group may negotiate prices or initiate a tendering process. The procurement cycle starts from raising of the requirements for an item or a service and ends only after settlement of supplier payments. By category of goods and services: goods, services, civil contracts. By nature of procurement: tenders, rate, contract and catalog buying, auctions, reverse auctions. By size/volume of procurement: high values, low volumes, low values, high volumes. By portfolio of services needed: requisition, bid process, evaluation, award, PO supply, quality check, inventory management, payment, accounting, audit. MIS. The traditional procurement process has been widely criticized as an ineffective procurement method because it often involves time and cost overrun. Dunleavy, 1994. Yet the method is still being widely used in Nigeria, most especially for the procurement in Ministry of Science and Technology. Inefficiencies in traditional procurement management according to A9AYTZ358G et al. 2009. Precisely 80% of organizations purchase items, especially for maintenances, repairs as well as operating items, MROs, constitutes 20–25% of the total purchasing values. Furthermore, A9AYTZ358G et 2009, affirmed that a portion of corporate buyers' time is spent on non-value-added activities such data entry, correcting errors in paperwork, expediting delivery or solving quality problems. For high-value items, purchasing personnel spend a great deal of time and effort on procurement activities. These activities include qualifying suppliers, negotiating prices and terms, building rapport with strategic suppliers, as well as carrying out supplier evaluation and certification. A9AYTZ358G et al. 2009. If buyers are busy with details of the smaller items, usually MROs, they do not have enough time to properly deal with the purchase of the high-value items. Other inefficiencies also may occur in conventional procurement. These range from delays to paying too much for rush orders. Procurement inefficiencies: maverick buying, unplanned purchase of items needed quickly, often at non-pre-negotiated high prices. The traditional procurement process, as discussed above, often is therefore inefficient. Mills, 1996. In order to correct this situation, the ministry needs to re-engineer their procurement systems, implementation of new purchasing models and in particular, introduce e-procurement. At this juncture, we will look at what e-procurement is in a B2B marketplace. Issues in ministry procurement: lack of a common public procurement policy. Nigeria lacks a modern law on public procurement and permanent oversight and monitor purchasing entities. Lack of model bidding documents and contract documents due to inflation and lack of regular adjustments on the thresholds of the approving limits of the tender boards. Their authorization were constantly being eroded, resulting in abuses, prominent among which is splitting of contracts. Complicated procedures for bidding, approvals and payments. That there was proliferation of tender boards which were perceived by the private sector as sources of delays and non-transparency. In addition, these tender boards appear to have limited mandates with powers to decide contracts de facto resting with the permanent secretary and the minister/commissioner. Lack of skilled resources. No centralized system of registration of suppliers. Delays in making payments to suppliers. That procurement is often carried out by staff who substantially lack relevant training. Conclusion: not until June 2008 was the procurement bill recently signed into law. Previously there was no federal or state law governing the practice of public procurement in Nigeria. With the advent of the new law, a number of challenges with regards to transparency, accountability and good governance in the area of contracts and procurement of supplies and services by government. In Nigeria, it is pertinent to note that e-procurement is not prominently featured in law. This project sets out to make e-procurement prominently featured. With the advent of digital technology and globalization, Nigeria as a third world country needs to be aware of the challenges and opportunities with regards to the e-procurement process. Furthermore, this project seeks to classify the meaning as well as the benefits of the e-procurement process in Nigeria. This project will also highlight the challenges in transforming Nigeria into a transparent and corrupt-free business environment and also ways of overcoming the challenges of adopting e-procurement in Nigeria. E-public procurement in Nigeria, some lessons from EU, 2009. Investigation of security issues. Security e-procurement platform transacts confidential procurement data and is exposed to several security threats. Agencies world over face threats to their online e-procurement and usually desist from sending sensitive information over the internet for security reasons. The growing number of cybercrimes has added doubts regarding the reliability of the internet. Security measures such as authentication and encryption are therefore employed while passing sensitive information between companies. Another major issue concerning e-procurement is the type of goods that are procured through the online medium. Companies usually prefer to source smaller, inexpensive goods such as office stationery, Miller, 2006. Larger complex orders that usually take weeks or months for negotiation are done in the traditional manner, but this can be addressed by employing a combination of security features and security best practices which result in reduced threat of data loss, leakage or manipulation. Security and secrecy of tender data is of paramount importance as the portal handles sensitive procurement transactions of departments and has foreseen the security concerns. Security mechanisms provide a secure communication interface, mainly for the exchange of documents between procurement authorities and economic operators. Standards constituting adequate and acceptable security need to be provided for the implementation of services during each stage of the procurement process. Importance of security in e-procurement. Security is one of the major factors restricting the growth of e-procurement. Without proper security measures, this could lead to the loss or corruption of sensitive information on e-procurement. Security breach could also lead to fraud and financial loss, also includes misappropriation of funds and revealing of sensitive information. The Economist, 1995. This project outlines various security issues faced by e-procurement in Nigeria and possible solutions that can be implemented to reduce such risk. National E-Procurement Project Supplementary Guidance Notes, 2004. The major objectives measured for the creation of a safe environment include the following: verification guarantees that the service is only available to users with a confirmed identity. Agreement guarantees that authenticated users can only contact services or data matching their task and access rights. Confidentiality guarantees that the data exchanged between the person requesting it and the provider cannot be intercepted or accessed by a third non-authorized party. Honesty guarantees that data exchanged among the person requesting it and the contributor has not been tampered with by a third non-authorized party. Non-repudiation guarantees that the sender of the message cannot reject, at a shortly point in time, that he/she sent it. Accordingly, following stringent security measures are already implemented in the system to ensure that transactions on e-procurement portal happen in the most secured manner. Physical security of data center. Entry to the data center is with biometric smart cards, round-the-clock CCTV monitoring and under strict personal supervision of data center personnel. Web security through 128-bit secured socket layer, SSL, technology from client end to server for secured passage of data. Firewalls, intrusion detection system, online virus check, up-to-date antivirus system, online OS patches to prevent malicious attacks. Network monitoring system to monitor the service levels of the site. Sound backup methods for storing data. Comprehensive audit logs of all events that are taking place on the platform. Access controls, sharing of functions between system administrator and database administrator. Third-party security audit of e-procurement system. MS. PwC has conducted security audit in pilot phase, 2003, and has expressed that security is uncompromising. APTS is in the process of finalizing security consultant for taking up another third-party security audit of the system at the earliest. Encryption of sensitive data, price bids. Public key infrastructure is implemented through digital certificates issued by third-party certifying agency, TCS, in compliance to IT Act. The sensitive data, price bids, submitted by the bidder travels from the client machine to the server through 128-bit secured socket layer and is encrypted with the buyer's digital certificate at the server side using TCS control tools. The data, price bid, is stored in encrypted format in the database and cannot be viewed in readable format by anyone including the database administrator prior to decrypting the bid by the buyer with his private user registration and user authentication. These two functional requirements are related to the process for registering users to the e-procurement system, as well as for identifying users when they access the e-procurement system. The technical implementation followed for these two functional requirements are closely related. User credentials. When users access the system, they must authenticate themselves using a combination of email, username, password, and/or other personal information, that is personal identification number, etc. Digital certificate, software. An e-procurement system may require the use of digital certificates in order for users to be authenticated. Digital certificates are issued by an official certification authority, CA, and may be issued to a person. PKI infrastructure, hardware. This solution, similar to software digital certificates, also involves digital certificates. However, in this instance user digital certificates are stored in smart cards. Conclusion: security of e-procurement system is essentially an amalgamated output of security of infrastructure, application and management. Security is important because without proper security measures loss or corruption of sensitive information can occur. Security breach could also lead to fraud and financial loss, misappropriation of funds and revealing of sensitive information. Non-repudiation. Security involves authentication, authorization, confidentiality, and integrity. Security is necessary to ensure safety of the data, users' information and minimize issues already highlighted above. Security can be implemented in hardware and software, and on individuals using policies. Analysis of the data collected from the ministry. The data gathering are made up of phases divided into phase actions, research design, research objectives and scope, collected in literature review. Data collection, collected questionnaires from the ministry staff, data analysis. Data were divided and conceptualized. Research design and source for data. The prerequisites for e-procurement in the ministry are the study of the functions and structures of the individuals or groups responsible for the procurement in ministry. A survey was used to map current practices of procurement and collect data on the antecedents and consequences of e-procurement method. A questionnaire was sent to all staff of the ministry, science and technology and suppliers. A total of 30 usable questionnaires were completed and returned for a response rate of approximately 65.7%. Measuring the impact of the implementation of the e-procurement solution, various variables such as adaptability, relationship with suppliers, change in the range of suppliers, participation of suppliers, impact on small and medium suppliers, change in transparency, human interface factor, change in cost savings to both government and suppliers, speed of implementation of the projects constituted the basis for data collection. The data was collected, classified, tabulated and analyzed. The number of transactions completed, value of the transactions, that is estimated contract value, ECV, percentage of discount given to the government, average bids per tender, average tender evaluation time, number and value of electronic tenders completed in all the departments, and so on, were studied. Nature of data collected. Data collection from primary sources. Primary data refers to the information being collected which originated from sources obtained from the author's own analysis. Example of primary data is results collected from the questionnaires, interview, observations, sampling and etc. During the Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the progress of the research paper, which consists of literature review, scope and limitations of the project and project methodology, 30% of the information is from primary data, where the data being gathered are from the author's own analysis. This is due to the reason that most of the information gathered in literature review is from the reference books, magazines, journals and newspapers. The author's own perception only occupies a very limited percentage in Phase 1 of the project. From the delivery of research methodology and project scope and limitations, 80% of the data is primary data because the information obtained is from the author's own experiences throughout the project. From the analysis of the author observed every problems or limitations she faced and documents the findings inside the project. However, during the Phase 3 and Phase 4 of the research paper, which contains the analysis section, where 90% of the data being collected are from primary data because results would be collected from the conduction of questionnaires and interview to gain the user's perceptions and opinions for the suggested solutions. According to Pabedinskat and Elskeet in the Basic of Research conducted at Vilnius Gediminas University, said that questionnaires are an inexpensive way to gather data from a potentially large number of respondents. Often they are the only feasible way to reach a number of reviewers large enough to allow statistically analysis of the results. A well-designed questionnaire that is used effectively can gather information on both the overall performance of the test system as well as information on specific components of the system. If the questionnaire includes demographic questions on the participants, they can be used to correlate performance and satisfaction with the test system among different groups of users. Pabedinskat and Elskeet, 2007. Data collection from secondary sources. Secondary data refers to the information collected from secondary sources such as books, journals, newspaper, internet sources and etc., which is not collected from the research methodology being conducted by the author. In the literature review chapter, 70% of the information is gained from the secondary data because the author needs a lot of information from secondary sources as a reference to produce the delivery. On another hand, reference about how to design a good screen design is obtained from the secondary sources as well, which are from reference books and internet sources. Problem exploration. From interviews and multiple discussions done with the staff of the ministry, it was found that the ministry faces multiple problems during procurement. Deficiencies in the manual procurement process were analyzed and are enumerated below. Delays in issue of tender schedules to suppliers. There were delays in preparing the schedules of tenders in physical forms because of constraints like lack of stationary items in the ministry. Because of this, bidders were not in a position to receive the tender document on the specified dates, which results in putting the bidders under pressure. Formation of cartels hinders competition. Information about all the bidders can be gathered from the ministry by competitors or participating bidders. This information encourages the participating bidders to lobby for formation of syndicates or cartels and bid for the tender for higher quotations to the disadvantage of government departments. Physical threats to bidders. Sometimes the genuine bidders were physically threatened and prevented from submitting their bids. The bidder or his agent had to risk their physical safety for submitting the bids in the tender box placed in the office. These incidents were drawing the attention of media, affecting the reputation of government's functioning. tender boxes at multiple locations. To counter the menace of physical threats to bidders by the contractors' cartels, the government departments had resorted to keeping the tender boxes at multiple locations. Manual movement of tender files. For the purposes of evaluation, the bid documents are manually transported across the administrative hierarchy. The transportation of bid documents manually and using surface mail is a time-consuming activity. Additionally, the possibility of bid details being tampered or lost, while the documents are physically transported across the administrative hierarchy, could not be avoided. Delays in finalization of tenders, red tapeism, lack of transparency, manual movement of files across the administrative hierarchies involved in the tender process, were all resulting in inordinate delay in finalization of tenders. Typically, tenders for major projects used to take longer tender process time ranging from 90 days to 150 days, and these delays were contributing to cost and time overruns for the projects. Human interface at every stage. The manual system exposed the departmental personnel to the bidders at every stage of the process, beginning with the sale of tender schedules, issue clarifications, bid submission, bid evaluation, and so on. This continued human interface has introduced subjectivity, favoritism, and other undesirable elements in tender processes. Lack of transparency. Oftentimes, a tender may have 2 or 3 bidders, but only one of them would be the real bidder, the rest 2 being dummies, leading to forceful acceptance of the bid by the government. Lack of transparency is seen in the manual procurement process, right from tender publication, sale of tender schedules, and issue of clarifications to bidders, bid evaluation. Besides, even the departments were unwilling to share the information, which became the main cause for the bidders, media, and citizens to lose confidence in the system. Interpretation of questionnaire. A lot of the staff working in the ministry find the traditional method of procurement very tedious, as it requires a lot of filing of papers from various company tenders. The traditional process includes filing of various tender documents, manual record management, no accurate quality of data, long period of time for order and delivery of products. For this reasons, the Ministry of Science and Technology would require an e-procurement system in order to make their procurement process more transparent, cost-effective, and efficient. About 40% of the respondents believe there is no strong policy that translates into regulations, guidelines on procurement which are made available to the supplier and the buyer. 20% of the respondents believe that the policies are not clear and should not be implemented, while another 20% believe that it has totally been changed from the previous policies. 70% of the respondents agree that procurement planning to measure the feasibility of risk of proposals approved by the ministry. 10% of respondents feel the planning details are not carried out properly. 10% believe the feasibility conducted is not valid, while 10% feel there is no feasibility carried out. All the respondents are in agreement that there is no strategy implemented to improve the procurement process in the ministry. 70% of respondents believe that a model for developing and supporting e-procurement system should be developed, while 30% are not confident that it will be implemented effectively. With an online procurement system, 80% of the respondents want information like tenders made available to the public, while 20% don't really care. All the respondents would like the details, for example, price of contracts awarded to the companies, to be made available for public view. All the respondents would like the information to be available for free. 80% of the respondents would like the details of the various registered companies made available to the public for free, while 20% don't mind paying a fee. All the respondents would like to be able to download electronic documents made available for users. All the respondents agree that the system requires some confidentiality of information. In other words, it should be secure. All the respondents want the system to be connected to other office systems like asset management or finance. 80% of the respondents would prefer that no proprietary hardware or software be a prerequisite for the suppliers to access the system, except the use of internet. 20% don't care. Summary. After completing this chapter, the author now has an in-depth understanding on procurement problems in the ministry and is better equipped to apply solutions to problems of the ministry in the coming chapters. Chapter 3: Limitation. While the use of in-depth case studies of e-procurement in the ministry would ideally have suited our purpose, Time and financial restrictions limited our study to use multiple case studies by literature survey to identify major cases in order to allow us to come up with a set of solutions. Time. The author is limited by the short time constraint where every phase of the project needs to be completed on time and submitted to the supervisor. Procurement process usually takes a long time, between 90 to 150 days, but during the time, the project phase does not grant the author enough time to conduct full observation. Financial restrictions. Financial is also another limitation, so not enough funds to travel around and conduct research on the prices of items and services outside the ministry. Also, visitation of the ministry daily for observation of procurement by the author incurred huge cost and limited the study to specific days where important decision would be taken. Books. E-procurement is a new technology and not yet being documented in books, which caused the author to find it difficult to find any books regarding to the e-procurement technology. The author also having problems in searching for the criteria to measure suitability because there is no common criterion can be used for the measurements. Thus, different books have its own criteria to follow to determine the suitability. Internet sources. The author gained the information on e-procurement technology. By carrying out this research method, the author can collect a lot of useful information that relates to the project topic. Besides that, the author uses several search engines to search for the necessary information such as Yahoo, Google, Bing and others. There might be someone who does not have much experience and may deliver the wrong information or interpretation to the end users. Due to this problem encountered, the author tries to search for information from the international journal sites. Besides the research paper, the author also need to complete other projects or assignments from other subjects within the short time frame. The author need to gather sufficient information from other sources in order to deliver the quality work for the research paper. Interview enabled face-to-face and direct interaction between the author and the interviewee so that the fact from the interview can be jotted down in that time to maintain accuracy of data. Project scope. By doing this project, the author chooses to limit the project scope to identify whether e-procurement would bring about efficiency and transparency in Ministry of Science and Technology. In order to gather feedback from public perceptions, the sample sizes of questionnaire are limited to 30 samples because if sample size less than 10, the results collected might not be accurate to be documented as findings. However, the author found that sample size more than 30 would create difficulty and complexity in analysis part of the research paper. The author would only prefer questionnaires and interview are chosen because identification of users' perceptions are important for determine which technology are appropriate to act as strategic promotion strategy. The author needs to ensure that all the distributed questionnaires must be collected back. Interview is needed because opinions from a specific branded company about what are the steps they would take if they want to adopt the most appropriate technology. The most appropriate technology would be determined by conducting questionnaire. Their opinions enable the author to produce the intended framework that is applicable to all ministries. On the other hand, interview is needed in order to evaluate the framework designed by the author. The author had performed a very simple experimentation in order to determine and compare the time of connectivity between computer and mobile to internet. Observation is not the author's choice due to the reason that observation is not appropriate to be used to measure e-procurement. Sometimes, the data collected from the observation might be wrong without conducting the questionnaires and the author would found that what the authors see might not be true for the analysis from just observing the situation or examples provided. Suggestions to the ministry. The scenario e-procurement in Ministry of Science and Technology shows that in order to tap the full potential of e-procurement, an interaction of the different applications is needed, making the presented enabling technologies such as barcoding systems and AI important pieces of the overall architecture. Nevertheless, significant benefits can also be achieved by gradually implementing a respective system. However, from the point of view of sustainable cost savings, it is arguable why a ministry has to manage all the analyzed tasks on its own. iStart, 2009. In future, most benefits in supply management will certainly emerge through the centralization of procurement and logistics by intensification of the collaboration between the ministry, for example buying syndicates, and through outsourcing of certain activities to the supplier, for example vendor-managed inventories. However, this will cause new problems and will need advanced knowledge of both managerial and technical nature. Therefore, the author is of the opinion that major organizational changes are needed in the future. Critical success factors of e-procurement: effective procurement policy and reform process, re-engineering to transform government procurement, sound legislative and regulatory framework, well-designed business model, adequate participation and commitment from participants, effective communication strategy to disseminate benefits, strategies for adoption of buyers and suppliers, flexible systems for meeting requirements of all agencies, effective training and change management plan, developing effective skill base in new procurement methodologies, open standards based, interoperable technology infrastructure, tools and techniques. The solution that is proposed for ministry is to develop an electronic procurement website. However, before deciding on a solution, it is important to seriously evaluate the tools and techniques to use before actually adopting it. The tools available will go a long way in assisting the author to determine which type of solution to provide. The tools include but not limited to Visual Studio 2010 Beta 1, .NET 3.5, C, ASP.NET, PHP, Ajax, SQL, Azure Server. The application will be deployed on Windows Azure. Features of tools to be used: programming language. Microsoft's Dynamic Server Pages is a server-side technology for dynamically generated web pages that is sold as an addition to Internet Information Server and Personal Web Server, and captures many functionalities normally required by web developers into objects to give them easy to access. MSDN 2005. Reasons for using ASP scripts help developers to ward off from simple delivery problems, keeping in mind what the users want, since it depends on the server instead of the user and all the work done before the HTML is sent to the browser. ASP is a sort of interpreted technology. The system is from the web server. If a web page is required, the ASP runtime loads the system into the memory, transforming it, and then translates it into machine language, binary language, enabling the machine to understand. Related links can be loaded by integrating server-side scripting code, including database access, with HTML and client-side code. Programming ASP websites is made less difficult by a variety of built-in objects, such as a cookie-based session object that maintain variables from page to page. There are two major benefits to ASP. The first is security and the second is its compatibility with mobile devices such as phones and PDAs. Database. Microsoft SQL Azure Database is a cloud-based relational database service built on SQL Server technologies. It provides a highly available, scalable, multi-tenant database service hosted by Microsoft in the cloud. SQL Azure Database helps to ease provisioning and deployment of multiple databases. Developers do not have to install, set up, and repair or manage any software. High availability and fault tolerance is built in and no physical administration is required. MSDN 2005. Reasons to use SQL Azure. SQL Azure can be used to build scalable, custom web applications, which is especially a need for small to mid-size businesses, hobbyists, and startups. Build packaged line of business applications, which is attractive to traditional SaaS ISVs and custom developers. Build corporate departmental applications, consolidate multiple data sources in the cloud and enable secure access from multiple locations, desktop and/or devices. Advantages: no need to install or patch software or other physical administration, automatic high availability and fault tolerance, simple provisioning and deployment of multiple databases, scale databases up or down based on business needs, multi-tenant integration with SQL Server and tooling including Visual Studio, support for TSQL-based familiar relational database model. Visual Studio.NET is a programming environment that provides advanced development tools, which include database functionality, debugging features, and various innovative features, creating cutting-edge applications across a variety of platforms. Visual Studio enables us to use the client-side and server-side frameworks to easily build client-centric web applications that integrate with the data provider. Visual Studio includes several programming languages: ASP.NET, Visual Basic, Visual C++, and Visual C. TechTarget 2009. .NET Compact Framework. Use .NET Compact Framework to build applications for Windows CE-based devices. The web page designer in Visual Studio 2010 has been enhanced for greater CSS compatibility, includes additional support for HTML and ASP.NET markup snippets, and features a redesigned version of IntelliSense for JavaScript. Visual Studio 2010 includes technologies that let you seamlessly deploy web applications. One of these technologies is the IIS Web Deployment Tool. Devon, 2009. Web deployment features in Visual Studio 2010 include the following major areas: web packaging, web configuration, transformation, database deployment, one-click publish for web applications. Chapter 7 Introduction. The main principle of the UML is to communicate the object orientation, where it describes everything in terms of objects, and the relationship between these objects, and the way objects respond to events or activities. We see the graphical representation of how these objects are deployed. Objects-oriented design, OOD, is mainly used for preparation of a system and interacting objects for the reason of solving problems with your software. Object-oriented design contains an item which captures data and procedures grouped together, indicating an entity. This follows a description of the class-based subset of object-oriented design, which excludes approaches where objects are not obtained by the instance of a class but by the prototype of other objects. Object modeling technique, OMT, is a process that deals with object-oriented development in the analysis and design phase. It illustrates the static relationship between classes and objects in a system. The object model describes the structure of objects in the system, their identity, their relationship to other attributes, objects and their operations. The object model shows the real-time environment and how the system interacts or is divided in the overall decomposition of the system. It is a graphical representation of class diagrams containing object classes and their relationships. Unified Modeling Language, UML, is a word that can be used to model systems in order to improve readability. It captures the capability of a system using notations. UML is an object-oriented analysis and design language. The Unified Modeling Language is a diagram language for specifying, constructing, and documenting the artifacts of systems. You can use UML with all processes, all through the development of a lifecycle, across various performance technologies. Throughout the years there have been insignificant modifications made to the language. Rich Picture Diagram, RPD, according to V. Ryan Rich, 2001 to 2009, picture is the first stage in the design process. When you start designing, the theme is placed in the center of the page and link words are positioned around it. This can be seen on the example below, a rich picture for the theme clock design. These link words should be related to the center theme and they will help you think of points that you must consider when trying to solve the design problem. V. Ryan, 2001 to 2009. The diagram below shows the activities of the actors of the system. The activities of the admin and the user is displayed in this picture as it depicts the real-life scenario. Use case diagram. Use cases are used in analyzing a project in order to identify system functionality that separate the system into actors and use cases. Actors represent roles that can or are played by users of the system. These users can be humans or computers. Use case describes the behavior of the system when one of these actors sends a particular stimulus. It describes the nature of the stimulus that triggers the use case, the inputs from and outputs to other actors, and the behavior that transfer the inputs to outputs. Engineering Notebook, 1998. In e-procurement, the role of the user is to sign in or sign up. If he or she is not signed in, they would only have access to public available information. Furthermore, he or she is limited to certain functionalities like calling for tender or tendering a project. The user can only sign up and view tenders available. Whereas a registered company user can register and submit tenders and the admin can add or delete a project and send tenders. Functional requirements for conducting electronic public procurement under the EU framework, January 2005. Use case description. A use case description is a description of a system's behavior as it responds to a request that originates from outside of that system. In other words, a use case describes who can do what with the system in question. The use case technique is used to capture a system's behavioral requirements by detailing scenario-driven threads through the functional requirements. Activity diagram. Activity diagram is a UML diagram that is used to model a process. It models the actions or behaviors that are performed by the system, the situation which coordinate the actions, the order in which they are carried out in a specific fashion. Activity diagram is the graphical representation of the activities and actions of the various actors as they are used to show the overall flow. Activity diagram is dynamic, showing the activity and event as the actor performs a function. Below are the diagrams showing the flow of the proposed system ideal object model. The ideal model is developed during the investigation phase of the development of a life cycle, and it describes an ideal system that would complete the entire requirement identified by the use case. It shows the various activities of the system and the actors that out the command for the activities to be executed. Database diagram. The diagram above is a database design depicting a procurement system. The database design produces a detailed model of the database. It also describes parts of the design of an overall database system. A perfect database design contains attributes for each entity. It is the logical design of the database structure where all the data or information of the system is stored. However, database design is not just used for designing or storing data alone, but it can also be used to create forms and queries used as part of the overall database application. Class diagram. Class diagram depict the classes of the system, the relationship between them, and the operations and attributes in the class. It is a graphical representation used in object-oriented design to show the classes of objects in the system. Functional decomposition diagram. Storyboard is a graphical representation of how the system interface will be. It gives the user a picture of how the interface will be designed. Chapter 8 System Coding and Implementation Report. This chapter is very important as it shows the different achievements and issues encountered by the author. The author will document how system functions by giving a complete account of all the software installed and how the various coding were implemented to make it a functioning system. The author will show various coding that have been implemented for the functions of the interface. The problems and solutions proffered during the development of the system will also be discussed. Software installation. During the installation of SQL Server Management Studio 2008, the author had some difficulties as she found that it was not compatible with Microsoft Visual Studio 2008. Visual Studio 2008 could only connect with the SQL Server Management Studio 2005. The author had to downgrade the computer operating system from Windows 7 to Vista Basic in order SQL Server 2005 to run. System development activities. The installation of the software used in developing the system is paramount. The author chose Microsoft Visual Studio 2008 and SQL Server Management Studio 2005 to develop the system. In order to deploy a fully functional system, there are a number of dependencies involved. For instance, .NET-based applications require a specific version of the .NET framework and common language runtime to run. In the case of database applications, specific versions of the software drivers to connect to the software to the database are required. The author had to purchase these softwares from vendors. Operating system installation. The author had to install the following software: Vista Basic Operating System, Microsoft Visual Studio 2008 and SQL Server Management Studio 2005. The system development also required the installation of other necessary software like the System Architect used for the drawing of the UML diagrams and the Adobe Photoshop used to create the images for the system. Development tool installation. The first software the author installed was the operating system, which serves as a platform for which other software will be deployed. The author also installed System Architect used in drawing the diagrams. The SQL Server Management Studio 2005 is the system used to create and store the data information which can be retrieved anytime the admin or user performs a function. Microsoft Visual Studio 2008 was also installed. This software will be used to create the interface of the system, and it is here that the various coding will be deployed in order for the system to be functional. Coding. Sample coding is the process of writing, assembling, and compiling of computer code. The instructions for hardware and software are known as coding. Chapter 9. System Testing Introduction. In this chapter, the author will work on testing of the entire system to confirm that the new developed system is free of errors and other programming bugs. The author needs to test and confirm that the system is running and functions as estimated, and to ensure that the proposed system is capable of solving the difficulties of the existing system by meeting the user desires and hopes. System testing is the method of executing a variety of tests on a system to discover functionality or to identify problems. System testing is regularly required before and after a system is put in place. A series of methodical trials are raised while testing is being accomplished. These trials tell the tester how the system should achieve and where common mistakes may be found. Testers regularly try to break this system by putting data that will make the system to malfunction or reoccurrence of incorrect data. Usually system testing is categorized into two steps or types: system developers testing and the system user testing. System developer trial is a type of test carried out by the system developer to see whether the system is ready for invention or not, while system user testing is the one being conducted by the users of the system. Objective of testing: the main purpose of doing this testing is to make sure the proposed does not have any error that will allow it to function properly, and also to make the system to be dependability and excellence. Types of testing: there are many different types or approaches of testing. The author is going to explain some of the types of testing available in testing system functionalities. Unit testing. Unit testing refers to the end user's testing of single units of software system. In object-oriented systems, these units characteristically are classes and approaches. M. Calling, 2009. The main goal of unit testing is to take the minimum piece of testable software in the application, isolate it from the rest of the code, and control whether it works accurately as end-user assume. Every unit is tested individually, before mixing them into components to test the interfaces between modules. Unit testing has confirmed its importance in that a huge ratio of defects is recognized throughout its use. Microsoft Corporation, 2009. Integration testing. Integration test is a process whereby software components, hardware components, or both together are joined and tested to assess connections between them. In addition, integration testing is a reasonable extension of unit testing. In its simplest method, two units that have already been tested are combined into a component and the interface between them is tested. A component, in this sense, refers to an integrated collective of more than one unit. In a realistic scenario, numerous units are combined into components, which are in turn collected into even bigger portions of the program. The idea is to test mixtures of parts and ultimately increase the procedure to test the modules with those of other groups. Mixing testing classifies problems that happen when units are joined together. Through using a test strategy that needs the author to test every unit and confirm the feasibility of every before merging units, in order to know every errors revealed when merging units are linked to the interface between units. His method decreases the amount of opportunities to a far simpler level of examination. User acceptance testing. The description of user acceptance testing, UAT, is essentially in its name. Taking each part separately explains what it is about. Coley Consulting, 2001-2007. User. A user can be defined as the real trade users that will have to access the system. Usually the employee of an organization, but it could be the providers or clients. They are the only individuals that comprehend accurately what the business is and how it operates. So they are the only individuals are qualified to check a system to see if it will bring any benefit to the business or organization. Coley Consulting, 2001-2007. Acceptance. The acceptance method means that it's confident to give benefit to the ministry. It does not mean that it only meets the inventive specification as requested. A system might be very well meet of all the conditions requested of it, nevertheless when trying to see how it will work in the business it is realized that it will not give anything positive to the organization, or might even damage the organization. This may be for a number of reasons such as a change in the business or business environment, such as a takeover. Coley Consulting, 2001-2007. Testing. Each time individuals are requested what testing is, many of them say it is to prove the system works. This is the key problem with the way UAT is employed in numerous organizations, as it is incredible to prove any system is accurate. In fact, a portion of effort is used, and missed, in trying to get correct responses. Coley Consulting, 2001-2007. Performance testing. Performance testing is the procedure of defining the rapidity or efficiency of a computer, network, software program or device. This procedure might involve measurable tests completed in a lab, such as determining the response on which a system works. Qualitative characteristics such as dependability, Scalability and interoperability may also be assessed. Performance testing is regularly completed in aggregation with stress testing. Take target, 2006 to 2009, black box testing. This test method is to test the system's module functions. This method is performed under the system function requirement. It is more importance on the system performance process, like how the system implements the function and generates the system invention. The author is applying this method in the proposed system testing. By means of this testing approach, the author will test the code of the function obviously, and this method might help to find the errors quicker by testing the system based on the module purpose fundamentals. Somerville, 2001, Usability testing. Usability test is a method for confirming that the future users of a system might conduct out the planned tasks competently, successfully and acceptably. Jerry Gaffney, 1999. Testing results. Hello, my name is Josephine Eade. I am from the faculty of OCIT, studying Business and Technology Information, BITCU. I am doing system evaluation on my final project to study and development of an e-procurement online system for the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology Nigeria, using ASP.NET. Please kindly respond to the questionnaires below, as your response is very important for the enhancement of the system. Part A. Are you satisfied with the user-friendliness of the system? 20 users evaluated the system. 18 of the 20 users, 18 of them are satisfied with the system while 2 are neutral about the system. This shows that the system satisfies the user in terms of user-friendliness. According to the user response evaluated, the system met the user's requirement in terms of system friendliness to users. This also shows that the user will love to use the system when implemented. Are you satisfied with the user interface of the system? 20 users evaluated the system. 18 of the 20 users, 18 of them are satisfied with the system while 2 are neutral about the system. This shows that the system satisfies the user in terms of interface. According to the analyzed user response on the system, it shows that the user are satisfied with the system interface and found the system easy to use because of the system interface. Are you satisfied with the performance of the system? 20 users evaluated the system. 18 of the 20 users, 18 of them are satisfied with the system while 2 are neutral about the system. This shows that the system satisfies the user in terms of performance. According to the response of the users on the performance of the system, it shows that the users are satisfied with the performance of the system. Are you satisfied with the system functionality? 20 users evaluated the system. 18 of the 20 users, 18 of them are satisfied with the system while 2 are neutral about the system. This shows that the system satisfies the user in terms of functionality. According to the user response analysis, it shows that the users are satisfied with the system functionality and will love to use the system when it is implemented. Part B. Is the system very informative? 18 out of the 20 evaluated users ticked yes that the system is very informative, while 2 of the remaining respondents ticked no that the system is not informative. According to the user response analysis and evaluation, the users are satisfied with the system in terms of information. Is it easy to use? 18 out of the 20 respondents ticked yes that the system is easy to use, while 2 of the remaining users ticked no that the system is not easy to use. According to the analysis done on user response, it shows that they are satisfied with the system because of its easy to use. Is the system easy to navigate? 18 out of the 20 evaluated users ticked yes that the system is very informative, while 2 of the remaining respondents ticked no that the system is not informative. This shows that the system is easy to navigate. According to the user response evaluation, most of the users are satisfied with the system because of its ease of use. Is the system font size visible enough? 18 out of the 20 evaluated users ticked yes that the system is very informative, while 2 of the remaining respondents ticked no that the system is not informative. This shows that the system text font size is visible to the users. According to the user response evaluation, it shows that the system meets the user font requirements. This shows that the users are satisfied with the system text font size because it is easy for system information to be accessed by users. Part C. Please rate your overall happiness about system. 18 out of the 20 users ticked good, that is being happy and satisfied with the entire system. This shows that the users are willing and will love to use the new system when implemented online. According to the user response analysis, it shows that the users are happy with the entire system. It shows that the entire system functionality and features meet the user requirement. Future enhancement. The future enhancement includes creating an automated way of evaluating the best company for the job. Language translator may also be included in the future enhancement. The interface can be changed in the future. In the future, a lot of designs may be enhanced in the proposed system, and the text color can be changed in order to meet the customer user's satisfaction at that time. Will be able to attract various customers to visit the site more often and to register with the ministry as suppliers. Conclusion. This project addresses issues of implementing e-procurement in the Ministry of Science and Technology, Nigeria. Nigeria presently practices the traditional procurement method where tenders are formally submitted and evaluated by the ministry. The ministry then approves the evaluation based on the authenticity of the company registered under the ministry. This causes a lot of strife as various companies vie for the tenders, often bribing the staff in the ministry in order to be awarded the contract. But with an online e-procurement system, the procurement process will be made available to the public in order to promote transparency in the government. Reference: Books, Alexander, B. 2006. Web 2.0, A New Wave of Innovation for Teaching and Learning? Educause Review, 2006, March-April, 33-44. Beamish, A. 1995, Communities Online, Community-Based Community Networks, Unpublished MA Thesis, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Carter-McNamara, 2008, Overview of Basic Methods to Collect Information. Authenticity Consulting, LLC. Chowdhury v. Hartzell, K.S. and Konsinski, B. 1998. Uses and Consequences of Electronic Markets, an Empirical Investigation in the Aircraft Parts Industry. MIS Quarterly, 22, 4, 471-507 Dun EVP. 1994, The Globalization of Public Services Production, Can Government Be Best in World? Public Policy and Administration, 9, 2, 36-64 Henderson, C. 2006. Building Scalable Websites, Building, Scaling, and Optimizing the Next Generation of Web Applications. Knudsen, D. 2002. Uncovering the Strategic Domain of E-Procurement, in 11th Annual International Purchasing and Supply Education Research Association Conference, Netherlands, Mailsem. 1996, Changing the Project Culture for Procurement, Information Technology and Public Policy, 14, 3, 167-9 Martin, Tien et al., 2001, Purchasing Agents, Use of the Internet as a Procurement Tool. Quarterly Journal of Electronic Commerce, Volume 2, Number 1. Miller, S. 2006, August 20th. E-Procurement Initiatives, New York, McGraw-Hill. NWOKAK, et al. 2007. E-Procurement and Marketing Performance in Corporate Organizations in Nigeria. NSSUKA, Ego Press. Pabedinskat and Elsgate, 2007, Vilnius Gediminas Technical University, Department of Business Technology Riccardi G. 2001, Principles of Database Systems with Internet and Java Applications, Addison Wesley Publishing Company, 480p Theory, T. 1996, Database Modeling and Design, The Fundamental Principles. Morgan Kaufman, 1996. The Economist, 1995, The Future of Democracy, and Democracy and Technology, The Economist, June 17, 15-16 and 21-3 Tonkin C., 2002. Adoption of Electronic Commerce in Procurement, The Experience of Selected Australian Jurisdictions, Brisbane, Unpublished Research Paper, Turbin, et al., 2006, Electronic Commerce, A Managerial Perspective, New York, McGraw-Hill. Zwas, V. 2003, Electronic Commerce and Organizational Innovation, Aspects and Opportunities, Journal of Electronic Commerce, Volume 7, Number 3. Online Bates, C. 2002, Web Programming, Building Internet Applications. Wally. Beginner Developer Learning Center, online, cited November 4, 2009, available from http msdn.microsoft.com/vstudio/ express/ vwd/ Bailey, K. 1987, Methods of Social Research, online, cited January 21, 2009, available from http://www.vgtu.lt/ upload/ vvf_vtk/ basics %20of research %20 work.pdf Braithwaite B. 1968, Scientific Explanation, London, Cambridge University Press, online, cited February 5, 2010, available from http://www.vgtu.lt/ upload/ vvf_vtk/ basics %20of %20 research %20 work.pdf Carter McNamara, 2008, overview of basic methods to collect information. Authenticity Consulting, LLC. Devon, 2009. Online, cited March 6, 2010, available from Devon Schools e-Procurement in FMS Devon, 2009, Devon Schools e-Procurement in FMS, online, cited November 2, 2009, available from www.bidevon.gov UK UEDA 2009. www.Europa UE Procurement, online, cited November 5, 2009, available from http://www.istart.co.nz/ e-procurement.html Procurement in Action, 2005, online, cited November 5, 2009, available from http://www.ogc.gov.uk/ document/ CP0025.pdf Functional Requirements for Conducting Electronic Public Procurement under the EU Framework, January, 2005. Online, cited January 15, 2009, available from http://docs.google.com/ viewer $A=v&q #cache::pi key mqja6aj::ec.europa.eu/ internal_market/ public procurement/ docs/ e-procurement www.bidevon.gov.uk Blonsky, S., Petrov, I. Myler, C. and Mayer, U. 2004. Guide to Web Application and Platform Architectures, Springer Professional Computing, J.D. Meyer, et al., May 2004, Improving ASP.NET Performance, online, cited November 3, 2009, available from http://msdn.microsoft.com/ Ask J. Saudinarayana, 2007, Concepts of E-Procurement, Capacity Building Workshop under GPEUIDA, 2009. Online, cited January 16, 2010, available from http://www.basques.uscati.net/ Patterns and Practices Application Architecture Guide 2.0, online, cited November 1, 2009, available from http://www.codeplex.com/ AppArchGuide Primary and Secondary Data, 2009, online, cited January 21, 2010, available from http://www.blurted.com/ Q959688.html MSDN Webcast, Introduction to Microsoft SQL Server 2005 Express Edition, Level 300, November, 2005, online, cited February 25, 2010, available from http://whitepapers.zdnet.com/ abstract.aspx $?docet=34406 to http://msdn.microsoft.com/ asp http://msdn.microsoft.com/ vstudio/ express/ vwd/ v. Ryan, 2001 to 2009, Rich Picture, online, cited January 21, 2010, Available from http://www.technologystudent.com/decentpro/rickpick1.htm. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about designing and implementing e-procurement as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at all A+ essays for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.